today we're going to be spectating a top 500 Venom to see what he does better and how we can improve together. So here we have our guy Mailbox, and I love playing as Venom, so this one I have emotional attachment in, and I'm actually pretty solid at playing Venom too. Now I do think this guy might be on keyboard and mouse, I'm not 100% sure. But I play on controller, so it's just to give you an idea of how you can play Venom. Now this guy does it absolutely amazingly. Now I almost have no flaws about what I've seen. I've watched a couple of minutes just to see if this guy knew what he was doing, and as you can see here, what he's using is the wall run mechanics to basically get as high as he can, dive in, and then he uses the swing to get out. And this guy knows his cooldown times, especially when it comes to the web sling, because that is the one most important piece of kit that's going to get you in and out of fights as quick as possible. And as you can see here, using all of the abilities, especially the one that clings onto enemies, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but you want to make sure you do use that when there's multiple enemies around, because that's how you deal damage without having to actually focus them. But as you can see here, got high ground now and dealing damage. He knows the range of his attack, and I just love the way he runs on walls. I think that's one of the main things he does extremely well here. Now me personally, I'm pretty good at using my shields to stay alive and then get back out of the fight, so that's something that I'm pretty decent with when it comes to Venom. But when it comes to kind of like diving in and out, I think that's where you need to actually practice your movement. Obviously you can frontline a little bit with Venom as well, which he obviously is doing, and you need to know how to mix it up. And again, this guy knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to this movement. Now it's all very fast paced, and that is because Venom is very fast paced. So as you can see here, he's in that backline, he's inside the Invisible Woman ultimate, and he's basically dealing damage to this Loki, and he's trying to find the actual one, which obviously you need to try and do, because once you do that, then you've taken away the actual heals of the team. He's staying in the backline here, he's not moved because he's got high HP, and he's used his ultimate. Now he's sitting on 900 HP, going to just stay in the fight now, because there's no reason for him to leave just yet, because even once his shields deplete, he's on still full HP at the moment, so he's doing good because he was getting heals the whole entire time. Now what's really important as well with Venom is that you can actually frontline with him, get some heals whilst you're in the front line, and then basically then just dive in again, so you're actually never out of the fight with Venom like whatsoever. Like if you want to be a constant pain to the enemy team, play Venom, because not only can you dive the backline like he's doing right now, and then you basically just pop your shields to stay in a little bit longer. All you do is you go to your front line, get healed up, frontline a bit with your team, and then just go back and do it all over again. That is why I love Venom so much. You're basically never out of the action whatsoever. It's not like Spider-Man where basically you need to leave, go and find a health pack, 10 minutes later you're back again with your health fully maxed out. So that is one thing I do want to mention. So obviously he's getting dived by Iron Fist, and this is very high level, and I know Iron Fist is pretty strong right now, and I think he's actually a solid dive character. So as you can see, he basically got busted by Iron Fist, which obviously does happen from time to time. This guy was in that fight for a ridiculously long time without dying whatsoever. So as you can see, he's doing an amazing job. Now again, this wall climb that he does is just something that I need to learn how to get better at. I don't know if I need to change my settings just to make sure I can climb on walls a little bit quicker. I'm not really too sure exactly what it is, but that is something I struggle to do, because sometimes I can't even cling onto walls correctly, which is a bit annoying. But like I said, as you can see here, this guy knows exactly his range. He's using the dive ability, which you need to make use of, regardless of whether you're at super high ground. You don't need to be that high up to actually use the dive down, and it does do tons of damage and displaces a lot of enemies. So he's focusing the healers here, as you can see, the supports, and now he's got no shield, so obviously backed up to then help his team. He's then getting healed up, as you can see, he's frontlining, and then now he's back in the fight again, just basically diving and following this guy, which is ridiculously good. As obviously his teammates are really good as well, which is obviously helping him stay alive a lot longer. But again, the rules still apply, and when you're fighting a diver, like as you can see here, man, his climbing is just so good. I think that's one thing this guy's insane at. It's just basically climbing on the walls. Now I know it sounds so simple, but it's just something you need to make use of when you're Venom, because he popped his secondary attack and then basically started climbing on the wall so that Iron Fist couldn't punch him. Like that is insane movement. And as you can see here, now he's just kind of like doing a bit of frontlining. He's not doing much diving here, he's just dealing damage, and then obviously gets back to his team to get the heals, frontlining now, and then he's going to dive straight back in. Watch this. Exactly, and he just repeats this process over and over and over again. And like I said, with Venom, you're never out of the fight. And obviously he's making use of his melee attack, which you have to do, by the way, because sometimes I find it a bit inconsistent with Venom when it comes to using his... He's popped a really good ultimate there, by the way. I find it a bit inconsistent with Venom when it comes to using his primary attack, and if the enemy's like really close to you, sometimes you do need to use that melee attack because you're probably going to miss those shots for some reason. It just slightly inconsistent. They've obviously went Wolverine here, but as you can see, he just tanks all that damage and then pops his shields, and he's looking for a health pack now because obviously his team has died. So he's backed up quite a fair bit, giving up quite a bit of space here, as you can see. But regardless, his team's not back yet, so this is not too bad of a move. And he's waiting for his team to come back. He's got the health pack. He's not full HP, but his healers will top him off the rest of the way. And now he's getting back into the fight. So he's looking for that climb up so he can do the dive down again. And as you can see, he just kind of repeats that process over and over and over again. And it's the exact way to play with this guy. I don't really have any flaws in this gameplay whatsoever. This is a really good off angle. I've never thought about standing here. I usually stand here with range DPS, but I've never stood here with a dive hero. But again, man, I just love the way Venom plays in this game. I think he's really solid. I don't think he's broken or overpowered or anything. People might think that with his new season, but it's very dive heavy anyway. I don't think he's broken. I just think he's just really good right now. That Wolverine did well there. He pops his shields, obviously. What else do you do in that situation? And then you just web sling out. He's back in the fight again. He's taking this off angle again. As you can see, he's just trying to deal a bit of damage whilst he's flying in. And basically, he uses his primary attack as he's getting close to the ground. And then he hits the dive button as well, which is pretty insane, man. Like, that is a combo that you need to try and learn. So as you can see, he's doing the melee and then he dives like right after that, which makes him do a little bit more damage before he even hits the ground. So that's something I kind of need to practice, which is a pretty cool combo, to be honest. And I have seen people do it in, like, obviously tutorials and things, but like I'm saying here, man, like, doing it in such a high level game, you just see how effective it actually is. Now, they've got an Invisible Woman ultimate here, and they need to get the overtime going. So again, this is going to be a big play from our Venom right here, because he's going to be a big part in winning this. As you can see, they're very clustered together as well, this enemy team. So he needs to try and get some picks that are not kind of clustered together, and he does an extremely good job at attacking that. I think it was an Invisible Woman. And again, they've got an Invisible Woman ult now at this point, and he's trying to get these healers out. So he's doing exactly what everyone tells you to do in tutorials and things, which is basically focus the healers in the enemy team. But at that point, it was very important because obviously they're on their final push, and obviously they don't get all the way. Now that we're halfway through this video, if you're enjoying it so far, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as we're going to be making a lot more spectating videos. Like I said, we want to spectate bronze players, we want to spectate high level players, and we also just want to spectate for a bit of fun as well. So like I said, don't forget to leave a like. Let's get straight back into it. So watch where this guy actually just positions, man. So as you can see here, he's positioned up on top of this wall right here, which is behind the enemy spawn, essentially. Well, not quite behind the spawn, but you know what I mean. It's such a really good off angle, and using third person view, he can see exactly where those players are coming from, which is pretty insane. And not only that, his whole entire team is basically sitting in front of the payload. So they're basically holding the position that most people would usually hold, where he's holding this insanely good off angle, man. This is ridiculously good. I need to start using this in my games. And basically what he does here is he dives the two supports straight away, man. Now, obviously they stay alive here, so as you can see, they're pretty much healing each other, doing their thing. Invisible Woman trying to push him off, as she should be. And he just manages to get back out and then straight back in again. Obviously, he just needs that second to reset and get back into the fight, which obviously he did. But what he did there was he distracted the supports, and he's doing it again for an extremely long period of time where they can't be healing their teammates. They literally just cannot do it because he's basically harassing them constantly. And that couple of seconds, even if it's like 4, 5, 6 seconds, is an extremely long time in game time when you're actually playing. People are like, where's my heals? And basically this guy is not allowing you to get them. Basically that is what's happening. So they popped their Invisible Woman ult from the looks of things, and then there's another Invisible Woman ult on top of that one from his team. And as you can see, he's basically just swinging in and out, man, just dealing damage. Now he's doing the frontline thing, getting his heals up so he can basically dive straight back in, which he will do, I'm assuming right now. Yep. Then he uses his secondary attack and his ultimate together, gets a pick, which is insane. And then he's got his shields ready to go as well now. So not only has he got shields from his ultimate, He can pop his shields whenever he needs to. And he's basically pinned this team in, man. They can't go nowhere. But the way he moves in and out of these fights is just so smooth, man. It's like literally smooth as anything. And I really like the way he does it, man. It's just like butter, essentially, to me. I'm not gonna lie. So I think he moves so well. And obviously when it comes to dealing damage, he's not really picking any target in particular at the moment. And I think he's just trying to deal some kind of additional damage because obviously he knows his team is pushing up as well. So he's just playing it smart, dealing a bit of damage here and there, getting in and out when he needs to, and not staying in the fight too long because he really doesn't have to at this point. At this point, essentially, they've almost won the game. I don't know if the enemy team will get the payload, but they've got a Invisible Woman ult, which they have charged up, and this is probably where they'll get a bit more of a push. And he doesn't really try to aim for too many headshots or anything like that, so even though Venom does do critical damage, I don't really think he's focusing too much on landing headshots or anything like that, which is pretty good. I think he shouldn't have popped that ultimate there on the Loki because the Loki was either going to do the rune. It'd be pretty interesting to see at this point if he dives straight in. I want to know if he does do that, or if he basically just waits until they've hit the checkpoint, essentially. Now, for me, I don't really have the patience to kind of wait for that. Sometimes that is something in my game that I know I should be doing, but I just can't allow the enemy team to get that payload to the checkpoint immediately. It's just something that's within me that just can't stop me doing it. Once I learn how to do that and understand that there's still more checkpoints after this, like, then I think my game will improve. But again, dive the backline, and this Loki has countered him quite a lot. Loki's a really good counter dive to basically any dive hero because he can basically pop his runes at any point in time and just stay alive throughout the whole entire dive phase. And he can also switch to his doppelgangers as well, which makes Loki probably one of the best counter dive supports in the game. But once you know his cooldowns are finished, that is when Loki is also finished. So when you're a dive hero, you see him pop the runes, leave, come back, fight him again in like a second or two because his runes will be over, and also you won't be able to switch doppelgangers as well. Now, this Invisible Woman on the opposite team has had a lot of Invisible Woman ults. So you can also use the dive as a movement mechanic, as you can see here. I think a lot of people already know that anyway by now. It's in a lot of guides and tutorials and things where it just helps you get to the fight a little bit quicker if you know how long it's going to take for the rotation. Now, at this point, I think you should be focusing on taking out the runes. As a Venom player, it's not kind of something that is ideal to do though, because just the way his attack works, it's not super accurate to take out the runes as quickly as you can maybe with someone else. It's kind of more to do with your range DPS or whoever the DPS hero is on his team to kind of deal with that. As Hela should be actually taking out the runes essentially here so he can have an easier job at diving the enemy team. Also just kind of getting out of the fight using the wall to escape, which you need to. Again, they're giving up quite a bit of space here because he was low HP. He's trying to wait for his cooldowns to kind of restore as well. And then he's going to dive straight back in one more time and just do the thing all over again. But now he's got his ultimate, so he can use that whenever he needs it. I don't recommend he pops it straight away. I think he should do it when he's got low health, so he can stay in this fight as long as possible, because the enemy team has overtime, and he wants to stay in this fight without dying for as long as possible. And he's got his shields, and he's got his ultimate too. So what he wants to do is kind of get back into this fight super quick and stay alive as long as possible. So he's got all of his abilities right here. He's going to pop his ultimate now, which he should. And he should play and not use his shields yet until his shields have disappeared on his ultimate, and then pop it again at that point. So this Wolverine's on him now, but he will keep this going. He's popped his shields now, and he's using his melee attack. He's managed to take out a support here, and he's basically just using the wall perfectly, man. Like, I don't have any flaws with this guy's gameplay, like, whatsoever. He's leaving when he needs to leave. He's finding health packs when he needs to find health packs. He's going back to frontline supporting his team when he does need to do that, because he needs to get the heals up, plus he's helping his team at the same time. He's never really out of the fight whatsoever. Like, I don't see him ever like going too far away from his team at any point in time, unless he's running up a wall, but even then he gets pretty quickly back into it again. He uses his melee perfectly, man, which is great. There we have it. Our guy Milbox goes 27-6 in a top 500 lobby, which is absolutely insane. And he uses cooldown rotations well. He dives in and out when he needs to. He knows the timing of his web sling to escape a fight when he needs to, and he pops his shields at the correct times. And that is all the makings, along with using the off angles, as we mentioned, of an amazing Venom player, and I think he plays this role amazingly well within this game. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something new, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.